Dash, go on mute. Your mouse clicking. What are you doing?
I'm pouring some cold brew.
Yeah, go on mute to do that.
He's refueling.
4:14. That's way too late for cold brew, buddy.
Dash doesn't sleep.
The good news is this is a life-changing day for you, and you've quite literally...
Dash, what happened there?
I completely lost my train of thought, so Doran's going to have to edit that.
You were on a roll. How in the world did you lose your train of thought?
That's the cold brew just hit the bloodstream right there.
What's up, everybody? You've got Ryan, the CEO of DubClub, on the DubClub Founding 3 podcast. We're on episode 4. I'm joined once again by my esteemed co-founders, Lewis, our president, Dash, our head of partner success. Both these guys are having a blast doing this podcast, as am I. Thank you all for the feedback we've been getting. It's kind of fun getting unprompted text from our CEO partners with feedback on what they want to hear from us. I never thought anyone would want to hear anything from us, but evidently there is a lot to provide and a lot more for us to learn and for everyone to learn. This episode is going to be pretty interesting to start. Typically, we start off with recapping what CEO partners are inspiring us and why. And again, when I talk about the CEO partners we work with, these are people who are building sports consulting businesses, giving advice to, the tens and tens and tens of millions of people in the US alone and the hundreds of millions of people internationally that are betting on sports every week. Our CEO partners provide them information to make more informed decisions when sports betting and therefore make more money. We call that winning more together on DubClub. I'm actually going to start off this episode with a special guest because you guys can always hear from us in terms of why we find value and why we get so much inspiration from working with our CEO partners. But I figured it'd be kind of fun to have someone who joined us on this journey, 3 years in. He's our, we call him our founding product designer because he's really helped take already our product to the next level and helped our team go to the next level for our CEO partners, all of our users, consumers as well. And I'm really excited to welcome Sam Croswell on the podcast. Sam spent a decade at helping to shape the product at a company called Kajabi, for those of you that don't know it. Kind of similar to DubClub. It's built for video creators to monetize their knowledge online, really in any different categories. I think some of the fun Kajabi videos I remember watching, because at my previous firm, we invested in Kajabi. I remember watching videos on how to interview for a firefighter's test and how to learn how to surf. That's the kind of stuff that Kajabi teaches. Very different than DubClub's content, but similar in the sense that it's an operating system that creators can use to grow their business, get more serious about their business, ditch the 9-to-5, and really work towards what they are passionate about in life and do so with a technology partner they can trust. So Sam's going to join us for a few minutes talking about, why he joined DubClub in the first place, who he's met along his journey, the CEO partners that he's met that are inspiring him. And, he can talk about them by name because we've got pretty good relationships with them by now. And then anything else that comes to Sam's mind about what's inspiring him about his work at DubClub today. So without further ado, Sam, come on in. He's, about a foot taller than me, so I'm going to have to adjust the mic as we get situated here.
Here's a question I always get great signal on, Sam. What's the biggest surprise over your first few months at the company?
Yeah, I think my biggest surprise has been just what the team's been able to achieve in a short amount of time and with, a pretty focused product, what our customers, our partners are able to do with it, how they're able to leverage that and the businesses that they're able to build. I think seeing the size of the communities people have built, how lively and engaging they are, that's been a really fun thing to kind of observe and even join in on with certain partners. So that was really cool to see.
Love it. Here's a question that I know the CEO partners who listen to this podcast will get a lot of value from hearing from you on. Obviously, you were very early at Kajabi. You saw that become a huge company. You're now similarly very early at DubClub. You've worked with a ton of internet entrepreneurs online. What's a common pattern you've seen among both the customers you've served, the digital entrepreneurs you've served at Kajabi and DubClub, and also being a part of companies that have really rocket shipped with you as an employee? What's the common characteristic or the common thread that binds those success stories together?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, as it relates to partners, and entrepreneurs just in general, that entrepreneurial grit and motivation to build a business because it's hard, but also like meaningfully serve and make an impact with a group of people. That fire, that drive and motivation, like I was talking about before, I think that's like a big through line that I saw with, successful entrepreneurs. Yeah.
I think I know a few who've got that grit and fire and got the DubClub link in bio.
Sam, what's been the most exciting project that you've worked on thus far? Exciting project, feature. What should our CEO partners be incredibly excited for in the near future?
Yeah, so there's a lot of new stuff coming. We're all very excited about that. I think some of the biggest things that are launching soon would be the profile page. That has been like a long-standing thing we've heard from partners about. And so having that front door into your world, your ecosystem, your business, being much more polished, much more modern, that's going to be huge. We just launched a new affiliates feature and reworked some of the behind the scenes of how affiliates works, and just overall improved the UX of that feature. And yeah, there's a lot more that we're actively talking about right now and that I'm designing right now, and we're planning to launch soon. But I think those two things have been pretty huge. I'm curious to hear like from you all and kind of get it out there, because we talk about it internally, but just what you're most excited about for this year, 2025. What are you looking forward to the most with how the platform's evolving or taking shape, or maybe new partnerships and things like that?
Sam, I think what you hit on previously regarding the speed at which the product team is moving and the exciting projects coming down the pike would be my number one answer. I've seen the mock-ups of the updated profile pages. I've listened to call recordings of you guys discussing what the future of the DubClub product holds, and that is what is most exciting to me. Just we've spent a lot of time on the phone with our partners, collecting a ton of feedback on ways that we can further optimize the product, make it feel more modern, look more modern. They've been shouting from the rooftops, and from what I've seen, you've answered the call. So incredibly excited for those updates to be here soon.
I'll go even a little bit more macro. I'll say I'm most excited to see the team we've put together really execute over a long period of time. I think about the Series A fundraise that we closed last spring and announced last fall. The mandate of that fundraise is build an A++ team from this, very lean, scrappy group that started this crazy business not so long ago. How can we add some absolute killers in their respective disciplines and fields? And Sam, you're one of the people that I'm most excited about who's joined the team in the past few months. And there are others that maybe we'll have on the program in subsequent episodes. But having some actual time now that you've got your feet under you, and others as well, to really show off and deliver for our customers, I think that's what gets me most excited about 2025 is having great people in the building.
Yeah, same here. The team is really awesome. Everyone's super talented, and we are growing, but in a very focused and purposeful and intentional way. And that's been really excited to see and help kind of push forward. 2025 is going to be huge for DubClub.
You heard it here first. Breaking on the Founding 3 podcast.
Yeah, there's a soundbite for you.
Fire me up, Sam. Let's go.
Sam, thank you for joining. You got thrown to the deep end and you nailed it. I'm fired up. And congratulations on being the first ever guest of the Founding 3 podcast.
Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. That is the perspective straight from our product designer, who is responsible for creating and architecting the experiences that our users have on DubClub. And he's only been here for 2 months. So a lot of his investment and his work up front has not yet been shown to the world yet. It has not been released. It has not been touched by users. which makes me that much more excited as you hear him speak about how he's fired up for 2025. That's knowing, what's coming, but what has not yet been released to the public. So really enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys did too. Lou, thanks for jumping in as the MC, picking his brain a little bit. I loved that when Sam asked you the question, or asked both you guys the question, Lewis very selflessly deflected to Dash so that Lewis could take an extra minute or two to think about the answer, and assumed that Dash had already thought through it as the question was being asked. That just, such a champion moment, Lou.
Just put his feet to the fire.
It's a good way to learn. It's just, throw him into the deep end and let him figure out how to swim. I like it. So guys, let's transition into the meat of our podcast here. And I'm going to start this one off actually this week with the CEO partner that's inspiring me, because it's very, timely, top of mind for me. I don't want to have to wait to go through your guys' CEOs that are inspiring you first before I say it, and then I'll flip it back over to both of you. But basically, I want to talk about Vic from Big Board Bets. Vic flew out here last week, was a featured CEO Corner guest on the CEO Corner podcast. I thought I knew a lot about Vic and his background and what got him into the space, but it's pretty remarkable how little I knew, but how, again, kind of relatable his story is to a lot of the opportunity that exists in our market. And as this ecosystem of people who bet on sports grows and they recognize that other people will pay them for their advice, it's such a fascinating story to dig into what went down with Vic from Big Board Bets. I'm taking you guys back from now to the very beginning. We start with the origin of the Big Board Bets story. Started 5 years prior to the founding of his company, which was actually, by the way, named by Dash. I don't know if you remember that, Dash, but Big Board Bets was a name that Dash pulled out of his ass, basically, because Vic was writing his plays down on a giant, whiteboard or whatever, and was not sure what to call his company, as he was having people ask him for his plays and for his advice. Hey, what are you on this evening? What are you on tomorrow? Like, Vic was writing the plays down on a board, and Dash was like, why don't you call it Big Board Bets? And that was the origin of Big Board Bets for Vic's business, who, Vic's the CEO of that business now. But taking it back even 5 years before that origin story, Vic was slinging cocktails at a bar in New York. And at the same time, he had a little wealth advisor, wealth management business on the side. He had some clients he was working with, was managing a couple $1 million. But, in total, that was making him, call it like 70 to 80K a year across those two gigs. One day at the bar, he had a group of 21-year-olds come in and were hanging out on Twitter with each other, just sitting at the bar, talking about stuff. Vic walked over. Vic had been betting on sports pretty routinely at that point, and kind of like noticed the energy coming from these kids. The kids brought up the screen and started showing Vic what was happening on gambling Twitter. This was back in 2020 at the time. So over the course of COVID, this started to really spike, the activity online in and around this community. And Vic was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, he didn't really understand it, but he sat there and let these 21-year-old kids teach him a little bit more about what gambling Twitter was, about the fact that people were paying others for their advice. And it sparked this curiosity in Vic that has resulted in a journey which took him through starting out with free content on Twitter, just trying to build a presence, trying to generate some awareness, trying to get people to listen to what he had to say, build up some credibility for the fact that he was really good at sports betting, to launching his DubClub about 850 days ago to today. Vic's entire business up until about September, October was, couple $100K of earnings. He had slowly been building it up, and then a magic moment happened in November, which we'll show in the edits of this episode, but you can find it on Vic's Twitter feed. We'll also, we can include a link in the show notes, but Vic collaborated on I don't know how many legs, but a really interesting parlay with Brookie J. I'm talking to Brooke on the CEO Corner podcast this week. Vic was on fire with parlays that he had been putting together. Brooke was also on fire. Vic had reached out to Brooke on Twitter and said, hey, do you want to do something together? Let's take what I'm doing and what you're doing, and let's put them together and increase the odds. And it hit. And that effectively exploded the awareness around his knowledge in and around sports betting, because each leg of that parlay was very well calculated for him and Brooke. And together they basically exploded their businesses on social media, which resulted in Vic and Big Board Bets, the business, going from a couple $100K to almost close to $1 million in effectively the last 3 months, which is freaking awesome, because that would have taken Vic in his previous job, bartending and doing some wealth management stuff. That would have taken him like 9-10 years to achieve, and he did it in less than 3. So as I talk about like what's inspiring us and why we get so excited and why we do what we do, Vic has that entrepreneurial bug. He wants to build. He wants to build on DubClub. There's no other place to do it so successfully and make as much money. And you hear from Sam. That's why I brought him in this week to talk a little about what's inspiring him, because there are people all around DubClub. It's what our team is about. So we hear these stories. We get to interact with our CEO partners like this, and it's just very special. So I think, Dash, do you remember the founding origin of when you had that conversation with Vic and he was trying to figure out what his name was going to be? And of course, you founded DubClub, and you also are just doling out awesome business names for our CEO partners. Do you remember that?
Hey, I can be a clever guy every now and then. I do remember that, because I specifically remember my confusion around the whiteboard. He would literally post a video, and it would be like 1 12-game parlay, and he'd write out every single leg, the exact odds, what the total odds of the parlay were. And then he'd have his 4-leg parlay, and then he'd have his 6. And it was like, it looked like complete chicken scratch, but 1, it was the most effective way for him to brain dump, and 2, his following loved it. What I will say about Big Board and Vic that's super inspiring to me is just the patience that he had. Like, I knew from the very early days when I met him, became his account manager, was working closely with him, that he was incredibly sharp. It was really just waiting for that breakout moment. And so for anybody listening who's just getting started, feels like they're pounding their head against the wall and can't have that breakthrough moment, if you do it long enough, it will come. So was fired up to see Vic have that magical moment. And if you go look at his pin tweet right now, you'll see the hundreds of people that also tailed that play and had a life-changing moment. So shout out Vic.
That's one of the coolest things, from my conversation with Vic. Not just that ticket, but other plays he's given out in the past have changed the trajectory of a lot of people's lives in his DubClub. And I'm not talking like there have been stories of like it was around Christmas time, so it's like, hey, I can finally afford that awesome Christmas gift for my partner or my spouse, to like I bought a car. That is incredible, and that's again, it's why we do what we do here, is empower people like Vic and Brooke and all these other CEO partners to give out their advice so that people can make better decisions and end up with better results in doing so.
What was the first name, Dash?
SGP Vic.
Oh, yeah.
It's his Twitter handle.
It's still his handle.
That's epic.
Had to get a little bit more creative with that one.
Well done. Yeah, I remember the board. I remember the video. The other thing you got to love about Vic, always face on camera since before that was really in vogue in the space. Another fun fact, if you check out his profile picture, like Olympic level bodybuilder once upon a time. Dude's triceps have triceps. He's a frickin' shit brick house, as they say in the business. I aspire to that level of fitness acumen. All kidding aside, though, Vic is one of those guys, super responsive, super hungry to kind of keep us moving forward in the right direction. So I'm glad you guys had a great trip to San Francisco, and he deserves the success that's come his way.
Yeah, and what I've noticed with Vic over time, and you guys have noticed this too, is he really cares about the authenticity of the product, really, like the information that's being provided in this space. He wants to make sure that people who are selling something are not trying to deceive other people. And in that, we're obviously very well aligned with him, because a good product will result in people paying you, and people paying you more over time, more often, more frequent, more money. I appreciate that approach that Vic's had. He's done it with poise, and oftentimes, it's shaken some leaves, but you can't argue that his heart's in the right place, and clearly with his performance, his mind is too. Lewis, I'm going to tap you in. We'll talk about a new partner because we're going inverse order this week just to shake things up, give Dash a little bit extra time after you
I put him on the spot early.
With Sam. Yeah, let's talk about a new CEO partner that's inspiring you and let us know why.
From the great city of Cleveland, Ohio. Don't call it the Mistake by the Lake, okay? A brand new partner, Saks Likely. Saks like Saks Fifth Avenue. Started and launched his DubClub midweek last week and has absolutely blown through every expectation that I had and that he had from as I got to know him over the past few weeks and understand what his vision was, what his goals were, what was important to him. What a cool story, first of all. So he first got exposed to DubClub as a subscriber, as a member of another DubClub community from the land, no less. TMTD. Shout out Bana and Jay.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Two
Bana
legends.
And Jay. Shout out to those
from
guys.
Cleveland.
Those guys
they inspire me every day.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, I was gonna say those guys are two. Bana and Jay, Big Dog Bana, and his business partner Jay have a unique story of their own, which we should get to as part of this. But yeah, Lewis, give some context as to like how did that come about? What do you mean when you're like, yeah, this is somebody that was a customer of theirs and became now a CEO partner of ours? Like, talk about the user journey there a little bit.
So Ohio was one of the first states to legalize online sports betting. Don't fact check me, do the ChatGPT. I want to say like 2020-ish, maybe 2019.
We're just going to have Doran edit that part to cross out Ohio with whatever state we're at was actually one of the first.
Yeah. ChatGPT, when was Ohio sports betting legalized? I can see the short clip already. So around that time, like Jay and Bana were like, oh, this is fun. Like, yeah, I'm sure if they were like myself or Saks or Dash, probably getting their ass kicked betting right out of the gates, but got a lot of enjoyment out of it. And through trial and tribulation and donating a bit to the FanDuel gods, actually figured out some systems that worked for them and became profitable. And Bana and Jay created this amazing community with DubClub called the Cuzzo Gang, where people would kind of share their systems, their slips, their ideas, and win more together as part of this community. Saks was one of those subscribers at that point in time. And he learned a lot as part of that community experience, and also, learned and developed his own unique style. He came across some personal hardship over the past year or so, ton of medical issues, which sidelined him from work, but also created the opportunity to really perfect his craft on the sports capping side of things. So he went super deep and super specific. Particularly NBA player props is his calling cards. And if you click in even deeper, he knows the Cleveland Cavaliers better than anybody else. And as a super fan of Chicago sports who obsesses over their, the Bears and Cubs in particular every game, I really appreciated how specific Saks, or Markey as I know him, got with respect to where his sweet spot is on the betting side of things. He's got a great head on his shoulders. He's got a very long-term outlook. The DubClub thing was something that was very natural for him because he wanted to provide value for his community. And as he was blowing up on Twitter because he was hitting all these NBA player prop slips, he kept getting a ton of comments like, man, I miss this. You got to start a Discord. You got to start a DubClub. You got to create a better way for us to get these plays. And one day he woke up and he said, all right, today's the day. We got to do it. I fed the Twitter fam enough. They're knocking down my door asking for a better way to actually get the plays. And he's like, it's time. I'm ready. I want to be my own boss. I want to be my own CEO. And he absolutely nailed the launch and has gotten really positive reviews from everyone who loves this new way of getting his content in a way that is helpful as opposed to trying to sift through Twitter noties.
Lou, I've got a question for you, but before I get to it,
Please.
I want to recap what you just said using a metaphor that may or may not resonate. I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Oh, cool.
I prefer the dark side. I just think it's more powerful. But I'm going to use the metaphor on the light side of the Force. For those of you that also watch Star Wars and understand the genealogy of the Jedi and the Padawan and turning others into Jedi, I view what Jay and Bana did with their business TMTD on DubClub as though they were the Jedi Masters that were training all of their subscribers as their, those Padawans that eventually can become Jedi and be CEOs of their own on DubClub. And this has literally happened with Sax Likely. And we talked about it last week, Lewis. You brought it up in a teach tape session of sorts where it's not just Sax Likely being exceptional at the content he provides and the advice he provides, such that he helps people win more together, but he's also a really good marketer, and that's a core part of running a business. And guess where he learned a lot of that from? The TMTD guys. They are exceptional marketers. They're great at creating awareness around their content. They're great at creating a community feel and vibes in their community. So as I talk about that, can you elaborate a little bit on why Sax Likely's launch was so successful? You mentioned that a couple times, but knowing what you know about his time spent in the TMTD DubClub, which effectively was his Jedi training to be a CEO on DubClub, talk about why his launch was so successful.
I've studied it a lot, and I think the number one reason is the community he's built on social is so supportive and so engaged. The one-liner I use is his Twitter feed looks like a group chat, right? Everybody is tagging each other, replying back and forth, quote tweeting, I'm tailing this, you tail that. He's just curated a really fun community where people are swapping ideas, they're winning, they're talking about stuff that's not related to their slips. At the end of the day, he's created a product that's so unique because it's about much more than just the slips or the plays. He's a great human being. He's very authentically himself, and he kind of produces content on his own terms, and it resonates with people. So go check out his X feed. Go to that link in bio and check out his DubClub. He's got a Discord community that's integrated with it, his DubClub subscription product. He pushes plays directly through the DubClub Plays app as well, if that's not your thing. Marky's a terrific person, and he deserves all the success that's coming his way.
These are the early days, and it's already life-changing money for him, which is so, so exciting. Got to get him out for the CEO corner soon.
Yes.
I'll be clear on that.
When the Cavs are in town.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll educate me down to the wire on the Cleveland Cavaliers with knowledge that I never thought I'd ever have. But
yes.
Useless nonetheless. Dash, let's go over to you. Talk about a CEO partner that we've been working with, has been building their business on DubClub. What's inspiring you about them, and why?
This is honestly one of the hardest parts of my week is picking a single individual. So I like sprinkling in a couple.
Now, so you know the quality
of
finding one thing and making it impactful.
Less but better, baby. Less but better.
Exactly. So tell one story, less but make it better. There you go. We'll have plenty of
last week, I had the opportunity to win with Weiss for the first time in person. He has been on the platform for probably about 5 months now.
Yep.
At this point, has been tremendously successful. He's a very, very sharp handicapper, but getting to learn more about him as a human being was really special in a lot of ways. And I think it says a lot about why he is successful in building his community. To say that he's like the most generous person I've ever met might be an understatement. We go to the restaurant. It's on the DubClub corporate card. The check comes out. I throw my credit card down. He goes, bro, waiters hate getting tipped on card. Let me take care of this. I'm like, Weiss, absolutely not. He pulls out $200 in cash and gives it straight to the waiter and says, pass this forward. as we're walking out, there's the person hanging people's coats and working hard for everybody in the front of the restaurant, pulls out $100, gives it to that individual. As we're sitting for dinner, he's telling me that he does a lot of charitable work in the background that he never talks about. He's built clean water wells in Africa. He's currently, as of literally right now, building a 4-bedroom school in Africa, which is incredible. There's going to be overnight boarding.
Wow.
3 different classrooms. And this is all stuff that he translates. He takes some of his earnings from community building. He also takes some of his earnings from sports betting, because if you go to his Instagram, go check it out. He's hit some of the wildest tickets you've ever seen. When you see that high of dollar amount in winnings, there's generally some skepticism of, is this legit? Are these edited? I literally was watching him place bets sitting at the table at dinner for that weekend's NFL matchup. So go check his community out. He's currently running a 7-day free trial leading into the Super Bowl. On Super Bowl Sunday, he's going to raffle off $1,000 in cash to a member in his community, as well as give away some signed jerseys that he's collected. So he stresses do good to others and they'll do good to you, and he's living that on a daily basis. So it was fun getting to chat with him in person and learn more about him.
That's a great one. I met over a year ago for lunch in New York. Yeah. I wholeheartedly support everything you said, Dash. When I met him, I was just struck by how kind and generous he was, and the way that he spoke about prioritizing. Well, I'll take a step back. There are, as you're running a subscription business, you're the CEO of your subscription business, you have 2 real ways to grow your business. Just to distill it down, make it really simple. You can either focus intently and obsessively on acquiring a ton of new subscribers, or you can focus obsessively and intently on retaining them and making the subscribers you have insanely happy. What struck me about Weiss was he does an exceptional job at the latter. Dash, as you mentioned, he gives away signed jerseys all the time. If you're in his community, he's giving them away like candy. He gives away cash prizes, but most importantly, he gives away exceptionally good plays that cash. On top of that, he just cares deeply about making sure the experience of being in his DubClub is world class. And what I love about Weiss, on top of that, is he expects the same of us. I remember, and I'll give him a funny, ironic shout out, because I think he forgets I'm in the group chat sometimes. But over the what's the holiday in September, Lou? You were involved.
Yeah,
in
it
this.
was Labor Day, I believe. I always get Labor Day and Memorial Day mixed up, though.
Labor Day weekend, I'm up in Lake Tahoe with a bunch of high school friends, and it's a Sunday morning. Weiss is texting us because there was something wrong. I mean, he rightfully identified a bug in the product, and was texting us, and just pushing us, no matter what day or time, pushing us to be great, because he cares so deeply about the experience for his customers that the technology partner he's working with, he wants to make sure is world class as well. And of course, we want to, and I believe we have risen to that occasion. I'll let Weiss obviously speak for that, but it's pretty great because he uses a lot of the retention of his existing community as marketing material too. So he's taking that really deeply embedded, loyal community and turning that into marketing collateral that can then acquire new subscribers as well. If you look at his Instagram feed, Dash, you mentioned this, people should take a look. If you're a CEO partner and you're wondering how in the world do I build a successful business in this space, Weiss is a fantastic example. He focuses on making his current subscribers over the moon happy, and then he uses their testimonials and their experiences as reason in the marketing collateral for new subscribers to join. And he's built an absolute machine. We're super fired up to have him on the platform, continue to take his business to new heights. I now know when I'm in New York, I got to find out where Weiss is, and I got to work at that place that he's going to be eating, because I will make a lot of money if I do that. Weiss is just that kind of person. He gives a lot, and he gets a lot in return. Win more together. He lives.
Boom.
Dash, thank you for sharing that. Lewis, we're going to go back over to you
Yes.
as we talk about opportunities we're seeing for our CEO partners. What's going on in the market? It's amazing just how fast people might think, oh, wow, how can you guys go through the same questions every week? It's unbelievable how fast this industry moves and how much we learn in the course of a week. Just from last week to this week, there's just so much more that is happening that I want to hear about. I know our audience wants to hear about because it's all valuable stuff. What opportunities are you seeing for our new CEO partners? What's going on? And how can they equip themselves for success on DubClub?
I'm going back to Sachs and the success he's had out of the gates. And one thing in particular that I think really contributed to the success that is a big misconception in the market. When you launch a paid subscription service for the first time, a lot of people have anxiety with respect to the fact that, oh, I'll be labeled a sellout, or I'm worried it'll flop. I'm worried people are not eager to support me financially or pay for this product. The Sachs kind of pre-launch process and post-launch success is another really powerful reminder. Subscribers want more from great content creators. You're not doing them an inconvenience by creating this new subscriber-only community or this new, better way to receive your content, or doing both at the same time. Like, people were literally flooding Sachs's DMs and replies saying, man, I need a better way to get these plays. I love tailing you. I trust you so much. I need a better way to actually not miss the content. It's a reminder of why we started the company in the first place. It's because Dash was tailing people like Weiss and Sachs and missing out. And that's really the original problem we set out to solve, was awesome, smooth, purpose-built content distribution. And it hasn't gone out of style. It's still an unmet need and we still have the best solution for that problem, an unmet need in the market. So I think that's like something we forget about sometimes. And I tell our sales team all the time, like, we're not selling the DubClub Plays app experience hard enough. It's such a game changer for creators to smoothly share their content with their consumers who want to be their paying subscribers and not just their free followers. So a timeless piece of the DubClub value prop that was strongly brought to life this past week with Sachs Likely.
Yeah, it's so timeless, but also very timely because of the opportunity I wanted to mention today. So I'm just going to jump straight in, giving myself that liberty as the host.
Please.
Lewis is talking about, a new CEO partner that launched on DubClub, how easy it is for Sachs Likely to get his content from A to B by posting on DubClub. We deliver it to wherever the consumer ultimately wants to receive it. There's different messaging channels. There's the DubClub native app, Discord, and email. Very simply put, the contributor or a CEO partner posts on DubClub, and it goes out to those channels depending on what the subscriber prefers in their subscription settings. Now, what we've been working on recently, which has been a BITCH in the making because of the third-party integration involved, is smoothing out the integration of content delivery to Discord. Discord has been an awesome product for many purposes, many intents and purposes across our industry. It's really good for interaction. It's really good for community curation. It's a great place for our users to hang out. But what if our partners want to deliver content that goes to multiple channels and not just Discord? And when I say what if, I mean, by default, they want to broaden the aperture of their market by delivering content through DubClub and therefore out to wherever the subscriber actually wants to receive it, not forcing someone to look at it in Discord. What we've done since, 2.5 years ago is have an integration between DubClub and Discord, where if a CEO partner or one of their contributors posts on DubClub, the content will go to the DubClub app, Discord, and email. However, that Discord integration, that connection between DubClub and Discord has been a little shaky in the past, and it hasn't been something we've really been able to strengthen or tighten up as much as we wish we should have. Partly because when we built it, we didn't know how big of a need it would be to keep that integration extremely strong and growing. We obviously appreciate Discord deeply as a technology partner in all of this. But as of the start of 2025, I'm going to give a big shout out to two of our lead engineers, both Germans. Tosh not as much as Flo in terms of native, but Tosh Lyons and Florian Dietz, who actually, ironically, two engineers. They are both working at DubClub. They both live in the same town, but they haven't seen each other in person in like over a year and a half. And I don't know how that's possible, but they, I guess, are just very heads down. They both have families. They both are doing their thing. But the two of them have spearheaded an entire rewrite from scratch, effectively, of this integration with Discord, which is not easy because anytime managing a third-party integration gets complicated, it gets confusing, and it gets a little cumbersome. But they've done an excellent job at rewriting that entirely, and we're now just onboarding new CEO partners to this new integration with Discord, which provides not only a better, stronger integration, so the access management of when subscribers subscribe on DubClub and get access to certain Discord channels is better, but also it's significantly improved the interface and the ease of use of posting through DubClub, knowing where that content is going in the exact Discord server and to the exact group of audience that you want it to go to. That latter part was a piece of work that Sam, our founding designer, worked on in the last month or two of he joined immediately, then immediately worked on this because it was a huge issue for a lot of our users. So I'm very much fired up about that, Lewis, because of how beautiful and how awesome it is to receive content on the DubClub app is impossible to have if the business, that CEO partner you're subscribed to on DubClub is not posting on DubClub, or their content doesn't live on DubClub. You'll never get those messages on the DubClub app. And this isn't an advertisement for our product at all. It's just a pure fact. Literally, if the content is not flowing through our system, we cannot put that in the outlet that a lot of our consumers, a lot of people that use DubClub absolutely love. If we actually looked at the viewership of subscribers on DubClub, like something like 75%, it's like 3/4 prefer the DubClub app because it gives that little cha-ching sound. Like there's just, it brings to life the experience of receiving that content from people that actually know what they're talking about, that are doing the work to try to make you more money and giving you that content out for your benefit. So very timely, but that's an opportunity I'm fired up about. All the new partners that are joining DubClub get to smoothly onboard into that new Discord integration experience if they want to connect the Discord server. We're slowly but surely aiming for before March Madness, going to have all our existing CEO partners, which is a bit of a daunting thing, but Tosh and Flo are very much up to the task. We're going to have all of our existing partners, DubClubs, basically not reconnected, but migrated over to the new integration with Discord so that they have a ton more, strength and confidence in that integration. And we on the back end with the engineering team have a lot more visibility into what's going on, and whether something goes on, we can fix it like that, which is what this is all about. So I'm fired up about that integration, and I think it's going to be a wondrous experience for all of our new partners joining. And I'm more excited just to learn. Like, there's going to be stuff that pops up that's like, what the F is going on here? But what's nice is that the team is very quick to jump in and fix it, because at the end of the day, we know that our partners' businesses are contingent on the quality of our product at the end of the day. So, Lewis, I know you've had a little bit of pain recently with this new integration going live. Can you talk just, totally on the record and transparent about the pains it's causing you as you try to get new CEO partners to launch their business on DubClub when there's still a little bit of uncertainty because this is such a newly shipped piece of functionality for the businesses that run on DubClub?
I think it's a good lesson. This is more like we're getting a behind the scenes land, which is great.
Yeah. Let's go there.
And I want to do nostalgia land after. We always get good feedback on nostalgia stuff. Dash, go on mute. Your mouse clicking. What are you doing?
I'm pouring some cold brew.
Yeah, go on mute to do that, please.
He's refueling.
Love it.
I bored
4:14.
him.
That's way too late for cold brew, buddy.
Dash doesn't sleep.
Anytime you go live with something new, there's going to be hiccups. specific to Discord, it's just part of the onboarding process. So it's so crucial for that flow to be really excellent. It's crucial for a few reasons. Number one, you're building trust with a new partner, a new client. It's important that you're demonstrating that you've got your house in order from a technology and a product perspective on the basics. Number two, new partnerships, time kills all deals. So if something doesn't work and we have to schedule a meeting for tomorrow, that's not so good. If I've learned anything in the past few years of doing new partnerships at DubClub, it's that momentum is extremely powerful, and anything that slows down momentum needs to be attacked. And then finally, it's about time, right? If there are any issues, it creates a tax on time and productivity of everybody else, where you're not doing the most strategically high leverage things that you could be doing. So those are the kind of the gotchas of taking on a project like this for such an important part of the customer journey. Mm-hmm. The areas where I'm proud of how people are performing is our frontline experience and new partnerships team really being vocal, sharing when things inevitably pop up. And our engineering team, Flo and Tosh in particular, hopping on stuff like crazy, no matter what time, no matter what day, making sure that things are getting addressed quickly, resolved, and then it doesn't come up again in the future. So I think there's a lot of learnings there. Hopefully that resonates with some of our founders and partners listening. I want to do a little nostalgia or memory lane, because I am very optimistic that this version of Discord is going to very materially improve how our users interact with Discord. Maybe we could do, around the rosy of our favorite Discord war story, because it's been a journey over the past 2.5 years. There's been a lot of scar tissue acquired from the three people in this room. Dash, how about you get us started? Put down the cold
brew.
Brew.
Anxiety just thinking about.
And share your favorite Discord war story from DubClub 2021 to now.
I'd have to go with the OG story. Bailey from Sriracha DFS, when he quite literally broke our Discord integration. This was back in March of 2 years ago, and he went on this crazy esports heater. And that was kind of right around the time where esports was starting to gain some momentum. More people were starting to bet on it, bringing more eyes to his account. Lines weren't, nearly as tight as they are today because there was less data. And so he went on like a run like I've never seen before. I think he hit like 12 25Xs in a 48-hour span. And I remember the wait time for new members after they would purchase their DubClub to be able to connect their Discord user token was like 30 minutes. Essentially, there was this funnel and there was a huge clog at the end of the funnel to actually get into the server. And so I gave him a call and I said, Bailey, I have good news and bad news, my friend. The good news is this is a life-changing day for you, and you've quite literally... Fuck. I gotta...
What?
The good news is this is absolutely...
Wait, Dash, what happened there?
I completely lost my train of thought, so Doran's going to have to edit that.
You were on a roll. How in the world did you lose your train of thought?
That's the cold brew just hit the bloodstream right there.
I haven't eaten food yet today, and when I do that, I get a little loopy.
Just made a bagel sandwich.
You need to get some food.
It's easy that he can chop that up.
Yeah, I literally saw the cold brew hit your brain there.
Bailey, the good news is today is quite literally a life-changing day for you. But the bad news, my friend, is that you have broken our integration, and those people are going to have to wait. We will do everything in our power to get in touch with each and every one of them. But for now, they're going to have to be patient. They're going to have to wait their time in line, and we'll get you in there. So we've come a long way from then. That was a scary conversation to
that was
have with
insane.
Bailey.
I remember like all of us had to self-refresh the tokens in our back end, and like there was literally hundreds of support tickets that we were walking through. Like, okay, is there room in the line now? Refresh the token. So shout out John. He falls on the sword in a lot of these instances, and him and Bailey on the outset of that like created their own white glove custom support experience. Bailey's helped us and guided us in terms of where to go on the infrastructure with Discord, on the user-facing experience with Discord. It's an awesome like DubClub, make it happen, scrap to make it happen, and then make it a beautiful product experience story. So that's a good pick. Ryan, you're up next.
On a topic really quickly of Bailey before I jump into my story, it is remarkable if you look back at that time period and the support tickets that came in, hundreds of support tickets. Our experience team, which handles our support, led by John, parlayed a bunch of angry support tickets into like hundreds of 5-star Trustpilot reviews. It was unbelievable. Like that just gets at this concept of winning more together. Bailey trusted us as his technology partner and leaned on us heavily. And what that resulted in was a lot of happy people that were treated with kindness and respect from behind the scenes of the DubClub support team. I find that, obviously makes me very proud of the people that we've hired here, but I find that the crux of the partnership here is making sure that even if for whatever reason something goes wrong, we're always putting users first and putting first the experience that they desire and they want. And I remember the reason why that happened is because we redirected a lot of those people to get content posted by Bailey on DubClub, right? Because they couldn't get into the server, but what they wanted was his content. They wanted his plays. He was on an insane heater, and we directed Bailey to go post on DubClub so that people could still receive the content through the other messaging channels. Again, back to the value of the other messaging channels, not just Discord. We were able to still get the subscribers what they ultimately paid for. So I think, that's a story that I look back on and I'm like, how in the world after stuff like that do we still have almost a 5-star average rating on Trustpilot with like 500 reviews? It's pretty remarkable. The team's done an awesome job behind the scenes. My war story of our Discord integration starts back when we had just built it. We were getting so much feedback. This was 7 months into our journey at DubClub. I was in business school. It was over the summer in between my first and second year at Stanford. And we were getting so much feedback from our users at the time, our CEO partners, who were saying, we really want to integrate with Discord. We really want a experience that we can provide for subscribers that pay us to get interaction from us and be able to talk with each other. And we took that feedback to heart. I remember one CEO partner in particular that was pretty hot to trot, and he's still building his business fantastically on DubClub. I'm meeting him next week here in San Francisco. Avery from The Guru was really adamant about getting Discord connected to DubClub and was pushing to the point where we finally shipped it in July of 2022 after a mad sprint to get something figured out as an initial integration. And I remember it was July 4th. You guys probably remember this too, but maybe don't feel it as much as I do. July 4th, I'm down in Texas with my family who had just moved there like 2 months ago. Like trying to enjoy, my partner McKenna and my family, trying to enjoy a weekend of somewhat relaxation, somewhat enjoying, my first Texan 4th of July. We're in Dallas, Fort Worth. The temperature is like 100 billion degrees out, and I'm getting bombarded with messages from, it was not just our support team, but some of our CEO partners that were confused on what was going on, how the integration worked. Everything was working okay and fine, but the level of anxiety I had having just shipped that functionality to people that weren't like 110% native with Discord was overwhelming. I remember sitting in the Discord server. I was in the Guru server and another CEO partner at the time, Trizzy Pix, and a couple others.
Oh, man.
Where I was just like going through, making sure that I was trying to like incite conversation, making sure people could see things. Basically spent my entire 4th of July in the heat of Texas, sitting in multiple Discord servers, to the big dismay of my parents and my girlfriend. I remember that time very vividly, and thank goodness now the integration is super secure. We feel a lot more confident about it. I've been able to enjoy my 4th of July since, but I just remember, I think that's the first 4th of July in, I don't know, however many years, where I don't even remember a single firework being, thrown into the sky. I think I was in a Discord server experiencing fireworks of my own at that point. But that's a good memory to hold on to. Lou, do you have something that's on your mind that you're thinking about with regards to Discord pain?
I do.
That's
I don't
separate
know why
than
this is
the Dash story.
Yeah, I don't know why this is the first one that came to mind, actually. It's one of those, micro traumas that you don't elevate. I think Dash is kind of a macro trauma. That's like a multi-day, very little sleep, triage. That
Micro trauma as in it just sort of like sits in your subconscious and
it's
exists,
I'm never going to
hold you
forget
back.
that one. Like, I'm sure all of our CEO partners can empathize with that. This is more of a micro trauma where you kind of forget it happened and then something triggers it. And you're like, oh my God, yeah, that was stressful. That was panic inducing when it happened. I believe this was like spring 2023. It was like a Saturday evening. I think I had gone to a Cubs game. I was like at Sluggers, more than a couple beverages deep. And I remember getting an email from Discord that was like, you have reached your 100 server max as an app developer. And I'm like, kind of tipsy, looking at my Gmail. I'm like, wait, this seems like a really big deal. Like, have we accounted for this as we're trying to build a giant company that, like, Discord says our bot can only go in 100 servers? This seems truly problematic. And of course we solved the problem and we figured out how to get the proper permissions and privileges to exceed that threshold. But I remember very vividly in that moment being like, man, I haven't thought about this at all, and this is a big deal. And I think that's like a great founder, always on learning, where like you can't really just be offline on a Saturday and the world hangs out and allows you to enjoy your day. I remember like calling Ryan from the batting cages at Sluggers, like, hey, I got this email. I think this is a big deal. I don't know if you remember that phone call, Ryan, but I'm sure I wasn't at my best. But that's another
was a
good
sequence.
piece of Discord trauma.
Yeah, Lou, I'm glad you brought that up because that was one event in the sequence of what I thought was us sliding off the edge of a cliff. Because that was, I think, a couple weeks after Twilio, who was our SMS provider at the time, was saying, oh, you and everyone else in this industry cannot provide text messages for the delivery of sports-related content because it's in and around the jurisdiction of gambling and betting. And then, 3 weeks after something like that happens, around the time that we were releasing our push notification app to solve the problem of the text message stuff, we get hit by Discord. And we're just like, okay, you know what? This just feels like we got knocked out, but we're in the ring, we get knocked out, yet they allow us to keep fighting just so we can get knocked out again. That's what it felt like at the time. I'm glad you brought that one up because that was not a lot of fun.
That one's buried pretty deep. But yeah, I saw a quote somewhere this week. It was like, entrepreneurs learn to like the taste of their own blood. And I think our founding partner CEOs probably can appreciate that, and we can trauma dump a little on the pod.
Yeah, you had a nice quote. It was like, as a founder, you're always on. I would take that a step further just to not incite anxiety in everyone that where there doesn't need to be anxiety. But if you founded a business, I would say if you're a founder, you always need to be on. You always need to be aware of what's going on with your business and where the skeletons and the problems lie. But you don't always need to be deployed. You need to deploy your energy and your time when the problem is truly a problem. And when Lewis was at Sluggers, a couple beers or whatever the heck he was drinking at the time, deep, and gave me a call, that's when I know when he's deploying himself. Thank goodness, the three of us as really good friends and, played on the same team for many years in sports, like recognize when the other is sort of signaling, hey, I'm deploying my energy. This is a real problem. I think that's been really additive for us. And I would say for those that are looking to start a business in this space, in any space, but mostly this space, find people you really do trust and people you really like working with, like the Chili Bets duo, Chris and Dean. You know, Chris, the CEO, Dean is like his co-partner, but like a contributor and a sales affiliate of his. They've been friends forever. They just trust each other. And I think that's super valuable to have in your back pocket as a partnership. But now I know when I get a call from Lewis or Dash and it's after hours, which, you know, really can kind of put it up in the air what the heck that means. But it's at an odd time. I know that they're deploying their energy to something that really, really matters. And I think they feel the same about when I give them a call because, you know, I don't really like ad hoc
Spidey
phone
senses
calls.
start tingling.
Yeah.
Anytime I call Lewis,
reaction.
I immediately get a Slack saying, "Is this urgent? Is this urgent?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. Like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm just calling to ask what you like for the football game this weekend. Jesus.
Yeah,
But
Dash is
they-
a bit less anxiety-inducing when he calls, but when Lewis calls me, I always get a jolt of, shit, what's wrong now?
No cold brew needed.
No, guys, let's end the pod with a segment that we got feedback from our audience that they want to hear a little bit about because we all played sports growing up. We all played sports together. I played. I actually never really played on the same team as Dash. I ran on the same track team as him in middle school. My parents were the track coach. They loved Dash for what it's worth. I felt, you know, I was like, okay, what about me? I'm trying to win all these races. But Dash comes to one practice every 6 weeks, and my mom and dad were like, oh, my God, let's get him on the track. Let's get him in a relay. Let's get him, you know, in the 100 meters. We all played sports growing up. I played with Lewis at Stanford. Dash played baseball at Stanford and played professionally. Dash, I'm gonna give it to you. Lewis, I was going to give it to you earlier, but I actually want to hear from Dash. What's a fun sports memory from your playing career that the audience definitely won't know about, but you'd like for them to know about?
I think a couple people have actually reached out to me about this one, but it's a pretty cool one. I was not necessarily a huge recruit in the early days of my high school career. Was balancing a bunch of different sports, knew I liked baseball the most, but was playing like 3 to 4 sports at a given time. So I hadn't really developed yet. And I remember my sophomore year of high school, I went to a baseball event at Cal Poly, and I think I went 0 for 3 at the event with 2 strikeouts, and I fouled out to first base. And I thought Cal Poly would be a great fit. They were an hour away. I was super excited about the event and just shit the bed.
Yeah, the universe had different plans for you than Cal Poly.
Yeah, I ended up going up to the coach afterwards to introduce myself and try and make a good impression, and he was not having any of it as a result of the poor performance. And just blew me off.
Oh, he gave you the
Hey,
cold shoulder. You're
complete
kidding.
cold shoulder.
Put
Yeah.
that on the frickin' bulletin board.
Exactly. And I was embarrassed. I asked him even, like, what's a good restaurant in the area? And he just, like, was turning and looking at the guy who went,
He's like,
you know,
Burger
3 for
King,
4
bro.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Fast
There's a Wendy's
forward.
down the street for you.
I started to develop, hit the weight room, ended up committing to Stanford the following year. Fast forward to my junior year of college, we were the number 2 team in the country. I was hitting cleanup, you know, having a great year at the time, which was super fun. Tuesday game rolls around, and Cal Poly makes the drive to Sunken Diamond. I just hated them as a result of the way that the coach acted. First at bat, I hit a home run. Second at bat, I hit a home run to right center. Third at bat, the guy hangs a curveball, hit another home run, and then fourth at bat, I ended up hitting a home run as well. So I finished the game 4 for 4 with 4 home runs, and the whole time was just thinking about that interaction in the coach at the time. So it was cool.
How many of the home run balls did you give to their coach?
Actually,
Signed.
I should have done them all. My
I didn't
one of my
know the
dad's
villain
buddies-
origin story, Dash. This is
Yeah.
the first time I've ever heard. I remember drinking about 6 pitchers of beer afterwards at the tree house on campus, but I don't remember hearing the villain origin story.
That was a hilarious night. My dad was my biggest fan in the world. Literally didn't miss a game. He was the one that drove me to Cal Poly. He wasted 9 hours of his day just and paid for me to be a part of the event. I guess supposedly after I hit my third home run, he was telling all his buddies, like, I am going to go shrieking across Sunken Diamond if he hits a home run in his fourth at bat.
That doesn't sound like your dad at all.
First pitch, hit it. He did not go shrieking, but it did end up on SportsCenter that night, and he was at a local watering hole, and he's like telling the bartender, "That's my son. That's my son." And the guy's like, "You've had too many beers, man. Put it to rest."
You look nothing like that guy.
That's epic. Doran, you gotta clip in Dash. He was on SVP, 4 for 4, 4 dingers. What, did they pull you, or was it a 7-inning game? Why'd you only get 4 at bats?
We only put up, I think I hit one of the home runs was a 2-run homer, and we scored no other runs other than that. So
it was just
I guess
5, Dash 5, Cal Poly 0.
Yeah, it was a fun day. I was definitely a little bit hungover the next day after taking down some beers with Lou at the treehouse.
That's a good segment, Ryan. I was
when Lewis does 6 pitchers deep. That means Lewis had a quarter of a pitcher and Dash had 5 3/4.
Yeah, that sounds about right, actually.
You're not wrong.
What a tremendous story, Dash. Yeah, it goes to show don't put a chip on that shoulder because you're just going to eat the chip and spit it out in front of the person that gave it to you. That's incredible. And look, Universe had better plans for you than that Cal Poly camp back in the day. And it's funny that the bartender, for those obviously people don't know what your dad looks like. It is like crazy, this spitting image, the two of you. Like you're literally turning into your dad. If I were that bartender, I would have been like, wow, is that your twin up there?
SVP called me Andrew Daschbach, and now
no, he did not.
Done with my playing days. I'm now fulfilling that prophecy with a little bit of a gut rolling. I got to get my ass back in the gym.
You just need the Cal Poly coach to tell you you're out of shape.
Yeah, let's give him a call, Lou. We
light the fire.
Yeah.
The Cal Poly coach said you wouldn't be the
weapon to wheel in the
greatest
back pocket.
partner success lead of all time. Time to show him.
Amen to that. Guys, this has been fun. Episode 4. First story in the books of one of the founders' playing days. There's going to be more of that. I'll probably put Lewis on the spot next week. It's going to be fun to hear what he comes up with from the 7 minutes of playing time over 4 years. But there's a lot to dig into there on the podcast next week. Awesome stuff from the two founders this week about our CEO partners. Fired up to talk more about it next week. We got 7 days in between this podcast and the next, and so much happens in those 7 days. It's fun to kind of regurgitate some of this and relive old stories with everybody on this podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.